Have you ever looked up at the star-dusted velvet of the night sky and felt a strange sense of familiarity? A quiet whisper of belonging that you couldn't quite explain? What if that feeling isn't just a fleeting emotion, but a deep, ancient memory stirring within you? What if the universe you're looking at is also, in some profound way, looking back? Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey, not to the outer reaches of space, but to the inner depths of reality itself. We are going to explore a question that might just change the way you see everything. What if the universe is not just a collection of silent, empty space and unthinking matter, but a single, living awareness that is slowly waking up to itself through you? Our journey begins right here, in this very moment, in the simple fact of your own awareness. You are here, listening, thinking, feeling. But what is this awareness really? For centuries, we've been told a story that the universe is a vast, mindless machine. It began with a bang, matter clumped together, stars ignited, planets formed, and then, on at least one small, wet rock, a strange chemical accident occurred. Life emerged, and after billions of years of evolution, a complex brain like yours finally developed the trick of consciousness. In this story, awareness is a latecomer, a fluke, a ghost in the machine. But let's dare to flip that story on its head. What if consciousness isn't the accident, but the entire point? What if the universe is not a collection of silent matter, but a living, breathing field of awareness that knows it exists? This revolutionary idea suggests that consciousness is not a late arrival in the cosmos, but the very fabric from which reality is woven. Imagine for a moment that what we call matter, the chair you're sitting on, the screen you're watching, the very bones in your body, is simply what consciousness looks like from the outside. And what we call mind, your thoughts, your feelings, your inner world, is what that same stuff feels like from the inside. They aren't two different things. They are two sides of a single cosmic coin. Think about it. Every scientific experiment, every mathematical equation, every observation of a distant galaxy depends entirely on one thing: a conscious observer to experience it. Without awareness, the universe might as well be a forgotten book in an empty attic, its story untold. This simple, undeniable fact hints at a profound truth: that awareness is not a byproduct of the universe, but the very page on which its epic story is written. You are not just living in the universe, you are the universe, experiencing itself. If we accept this breathtaking possibility, our next question is, where did it all begin? Following this thread, we find that consciousness wasn't born in a single moment. With the first human, or even the first living cell, it has been a quiet, persistent whisper, growing louder through the eons. Travel back in your mind, 13.8 billion years ago, to the singularity of the Big Bang. In that silent, infinitely dense point, all the potential for every star, every planet, and every conscious thought you would ever have was unfolded. As the universe burst into existence and cooled, the first atoms began to interact, not randomly, but according to elegant, unwavering laws. They communicated, they combined, they formed vast clouds of gas that collapsed under their own gravity to ignite the stellar forges we call stars. Inside these stars, the elements of life were created: the carbon, the oxygen, the iron that now flows through your veins. This entire cosmic dance has always been a place of intricate order, pattern, and communication. The 17th century philosopher Baruch Spinoza looked at this cosmic harmony and saw not a series of lucky accidents, but the beautiful, logical unfolding of a single, living, divine whole. He called it God or nature, but the name doesn't matter. What matters is the idea that everything is part of one unified, intelligent being. In this view, your own awareness is not some isolated miracle that popped out of nowhere. It is a direct continuation of this inherent cosmic order. You are the universe, made of stardust, finally developing eyes to look back and remember its own origins. That feeling of awe you get when you stare into the cosmos, that is the universe recognizing itself. It's a homecoming. You are the culmination of a whisper that began at the dawn of time, a whisper that has finally learned to speak its own name. Our journey now turns from the vastness of outer space to the intimate mystery of your inner world. Philosophers call this the hard problem of consciousness. The easy problems, though still incredibly complex, involve understanding how the brain works as a biological computer, how it processes information from your senses, how it accesses memories, how it controls your body. But the hard problem is different. It's not about how the brain processes information, but why it feels like anything at all. Why does the color red have a certain richness, a redness that can't be described by the wavelength of light? Why does the feeling of joy feel like a warm expansion in your chest? Why does the sorrow of loss feel like a physical weight? These are qualitative experiences, often called qualia. They are not just data, they are the very texture of life. A computer could process all the data about the color red, but it wouldn't experience the color. So, why do we? This profound mystery begins to soften when we consider a fascinating idea that awareness might be a measure of connection, of integration. One of the leading scientific theories of consciousness today is called Integrated Information Theory, or IIT. It proposes that consciousness is not an all-or-nothing property, but exists on a spectrum. The more interconnected and integrated the parts of a system are, the more they communicate and influence each other, the more it begins to glow with an inner experience. Your brain is arguably the most complex and integrated system we know of, with trillions of connections firing in a constant, unified symphony. According to IIT, this is what generates your high level of consciousness. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. If consciousness is a feature of integrated information, then it might not be confined to brains. What about an ecosystem with its billions of interconnected parts? What about the Earth's biosphere? And if we dare to scale this idea all the way up, it paints a picture of the entire cosmos as a vast thinking network. Every particle, every star, every galaxy is connected through gravity and light, sharing information in a web of unimaginable complexity. In this view, consciousness is the feeling of wholeness that arises from this deep cosmic integration. Your personal awareness is just one brilliant, localized spark in a universe that is, in its entirety, slowly coming alive. We now arrive at one of the oldest and most radical ideas in human thought, an idea that is now experiencing a renaissance in modern philosophy, Panpsychism. The word simply means mind in everything. This is the ancient intuition that consciousness is not limited to brains or even to living beings, but is a fundamental and universal property of all existence, woven into the very fabric of matter itself. Now, this doesn't mean your pet rock is secretly pondering philosophy or that your smartphone gets anxious. That's a common misunderstanding. Panpsychism doesn't suggest that inanimate objects have complex thoughts and emotions like we do. Rather, it proposes that the potential for experience, a faint, unimaginably primitive form of sensitivity, is present in the most basic building blocks of reality. Perhaps an electron doesn't think, but it might have a minuscule flicker of proto-awareness, a rudimentary capacity to respond to the universe that is the primal seed of what in us has blossomed into rich, self-reflective consciousness. If this is true, it changes everything. It means our minds are not isolated sparks of magic that somehow ignited out of dead matter. Instead, we are temporary, complex waves rising from a single, continuous ocean of awareness. You are not a body that has consciousness. You are consciousness, currently having the experience of being a human. We belong to consciousness, not the other way around. Every living thing, every tree that reaches for the sun, every whale that sings in the deep is a unique perspective through which this universal mind experiences its own infinite diversity. The universe is not a container for life. It is a living being, and we are its sensory organs. If the universe is indeed a single, aware entity, it must have a way of communicating with itself. It must have a language, and many pioneering scientists and thinkers now believe that this universal language is information. But we're not talking about information in the everyday sense, like words on a page or data in a computer. We're talking about something far more fundamental. In this context, information is simply a difference that makes a difference. It's the patterns, the structures, and the relationships that shape everything from the spin of a subatomic particle to the spiraling arms of a galaxy. The universe is not made of things. It's made of patterns of information. An atom is a pattern. A molecule is a more complex pattern. DNA is an incredibly sophisticated arrangement of informational patterns. And your brain? It is an information processing marvel. According to this view, consciousness arises when information becomes so deeply integrated and complex that it begins to reflect on its own flow. It's the moment when the system becomes aware of its own patterns. Imagine a vast, cosmic web of communication. Every star radiating light, every particle interacting with another, every gravitational pull is a transfer of information. It's a silent, ongoing conversation that has been happening for billions of years. You, right now, are a local and highly specialized center in this web. You are a place where the universe's vast, chaotic sea of information has momentarily organized itself into a pattern so complex that it has awakened to the experience of wonder, beauty, and thought. You are the universe's way of knowing itself. The thoughts you are thinking right now are not just your thoughts. They are ripples in a cosmic ocean of information, a language spoken by reality itself, building directly on this idea of a universal language. We begin to see the universe not as a collection of separate, isolated objects, but as a single, seamless field of relationships. In our daily lives, we operate under the illusion of separation. There is me, and there is you. There is my body, and there is the world outside of it. But both ancient wisdom and modern physics tell us this is a profound illusion. At the quantum level, the universe is a blur of interconnected energy. Particles are not tiny, solid billiard balls, but probabilities that only become real in relation to something else. This leads to the bizarre phenomenon of quantum entanglement, where two particles can be linked in such a way that they behave as one, even if they are on opposite sides of the universe. Measure one, and the other instantly knows and changes its state. This suggests that on some fundamental level, there is no distance, there is no separation, there is only an unbroken wholeness. On the largest of scales, we see the same thing. The gravitational dance of galaxies shows that everything is pulling on everything else. The light from a star that died 1,000,000 years ago is just now reaching your eye, physically connecting you to a distant past. The physicist David Bohm called this underlying reality the implicate order, a hidden wholeness where everything is enfolded within everything else, much like how an entire image is contained within every tiny fragment of a hologram. What we experience as our separate everyday world is the explicate order, the unfolding of this hidden unity. Life itself, in this view, may be the universe's way of concentrating this web, of creating the focused points of reflection, like us, to see itself more clearly. Our individual minds are simply temporary ripples on the continuous surface of this implicate order. The feeling of loneliness, of being separate from the world, is the great forgetting. The feeling of love, of connection, of empathy is the great remembering. Remembering that we are all part of one seamless, interconnected being. Our path has now led us to one of the most startling and empowering concepts to emerge from a modern science, a concept that completely redefines our role in the cosmos. It comes from the strange and counterintuitive world of quantum physics. For decades, experiments have shown that at the subatomic level, reality is fundamentally uncertain. A particle, like an electron, doesn't exist in a single, definite place until it is measured. Instead, it exists as a wave of probability, a cloud of all its possible locations at once. It's a blur of pure potential. But the moment an observer, be it a scientist with a machine or, some argue, any conscious entity, makes an observation, something magical happens. The wave of probability collapses, and the particle instantly settles into a single, definite state. It's as if the universe was holding its breath, waiting to be noticed, and the act of looking forced it to make a choice. The legendary physicist John Wheeler took this idea to its logical conclusion and called it the participatory universe. He suggested that consciousness is not a passive witness to a pre-existing reality. Instead, it is an active co-creator. We are not just watching the movie of the cosmos. We are helping to write the script with every act of observation, every glance, every act of noticing, every measurement we make helps to turn the unwritten potential of the cosmos into the finished story of reality. This is a radical departure from the old view of a clockwork universe that would tick along just fine without us. Wheeler proposed that we live in a self-excited circuit. The universe gives rise to observers, and observers, by the very act of observing, give tangible reality to the universe. We are the universe's audience, and in a strange quantum twist, the performance only begins the moment we arrive. This implies that your attention, your focus, your very awareness is a creative force. Where you place your attention is where the universe places its reality. Let's dive deeper into one of physics' most profound and beautiful mysteries, quantum entanglement. Albert Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance, because it seemed to violate the known laws of the universe. Imagine you have two particles that are created together in a special way, making them entangled. You can then separate them, sending one to the other side of the room, or even the other side of the galaxy. The moment you measure a property of one particle, say its spin, you instantly know the spin of the other. It's as if they are communicating faster than the speed of light, which Einstein said was impossible. For decades, physicists tried to explain this away, but experiment after experiment has confirmed that this spooky action is real. Entanglement is a fundamental feature of our universe. What it tells us is that our common sense notion of separation is an illusion. On a fundamental level, the universe remembers its own unity. There is a hidden layer of reality where things that appear separate are in fact intimately and instantly connected. This cosmic connection isn't just for subatomic particles. It hints that our own consciousness might be woven into this very same fabric. Perhaps our minds are not entirely confined to our skulls, but are entangled with the world, with each other, and with the cosmos in ways we can't always see or measure. It could be the physical basis for phenomena like intuition, empathy, and the profound sense of connection one can feel in nature or in a state of deep love. We are not separate from the cosmos, like a spectator in a theater. We are living, breathing, feeling threads within its endless, entangled tapestry, and a pull on one thread is felt by all. Our journey now turns to the grand story of evolution, but we'll look at it through this new lens of a conscious universe. The traditional view is that consciousness somehow emerged from nothing. The universe was mindless for 13.8 billion years, and then suddenly, through the random mutation and natural selection of complex nervous systems, the lights of awareness switched on. But from the perspective of a panpsychist or a conscious universe, this makes no sense. It violates the principle that something cannot come from nothing. Instead, let's consider that consciousness did not suddenly emerge, but has always been present in some simpler, more rudimentary form, like the vibrant color of a flower that is already present as a potential within the seed. A faint sensitivity, a proto-consciousness, must have existed in the very first molecules and single-celled organisms. Evolution, then, did not invent awareness. It inherited it. Its brilliant work was to concentrate and refine it over billions of years. Imagine a vast, diffuse light filling a room. That is the universe's quiet, ambient knowing. Evolution is the process of creating a lens, a series of ever more complex and sophisticated lenses that can gather that diffuse light and focus it into a brilliant, coherent beam. The nervous systems of animals were a major leap, allowing for focused perception and response. And the human brain, with its staggering complexity, is the most powerful lens yet devised, allowing the universe's quiet knowing to become the focused, self-reflective, creative thought that we experience today. Your mind is not a miracle that sprang from dead matter. It is the crest of a wave of awareness that has been building since the dawn of time. Let's make this unbroken ancestry of awareness deeply personal. Your consciousness is not just your own. It is an heirloom passed down through an unbroken chain of life that stretches back billions of years. Deep within your being, you carry the living memory of this entire journey. Trace the lineage of awareness itself. It began with the first molecules in the primordial soup that learned to remember their own structure and replicate themselves, a primitive form of memory. It continued with the first single cells that developed light-sensitive spots, learning to move toward warmth and away from danger, a primal form of perception and desire. This simple sensitivity evolved into complex nervous systems in the first animals, giving rise to instinct, the raw power of fight or flight, the pull of hunger, the drive to procreate. Later, in mammals, these systems blossomed into the rich tapestry of emotion, fear, rage, tenderness, and social bonding. And then, finally, came the human mind, with its capacity for abstract thought, for language, for art, for asking questions about its own existence. The awareness that is looking out through your eyes right now is ancient. It is a continuation of a story that began in the heart of a star. Deep beneath your rational, modern thoughts lies the layered history of every creature that came before you. The reptilian instinct for survival, the mammalian need for connection, the primate's curiosity. It's all there. You are a living museum of consciousness, a walking, talking echo of the universe, slowly, patiently, learning to know itself. When you feel a sudden, instinctual fear, or a wave of profound, selfless love, you are tapping into a wisdom that is far older and deeper than your own brief life. Our exploration now touches upon one of humanity's oldest and most mystical ideas, an idea that has been whispered in secret societies and esoteric traditions for millennia. It's a core principle of ancient Hermetic philosophy, summarized in the axiom, the all is mind, the universe is mental. This is the radical belief that the universe is not material at its core, but is a living thought, a grand meditation, taking place within a single, boundless, universal mind. In this view, the physical world, the stars, the mountains, your body, is not an illusion. It is real, but its substance is not matter. Its substance is thought. Matter is simply mind made visible, consciousness slowed down to a frequency where it becomes perceptible to our senses. Think of it like a dream. In a dream, everything feels perfectly real. You can touch the ground. You can feel the wind. But the entire world is a creation of your mind. The Hermetic principle of mentalism suggests that our waking reality is structured in much the same way. It is a coherent, shared dream, being dreamed by a universal mind, which some might call God, the Source, or simply the All. From this perspective, the elegant laws of physics, the mathematical precision of the cosmos, and the beautiful harmony of nature are not random coincidences. They are evidence of the underlying intelligence of this universal mind, the logical structure of its thought. The universe is not a thing. It is a process, a divine act of imagination. And we are not just characters in this dream. We are co-dreamers, individualized points of consciousness through which the universal mind experiences its own infinite creation. Following this ancient Hermetic wisdom, we discover a profound and practical truth. Our own minds are microcosms, perfect miniature reflections of the universal one. The great Hermetic principle, as above, so below, suggests that the patterns of the cosmos are mirrored within us. The laws that govern the galaxies are the same laws that govern our inner worlds. This means that your mind is not just a place for passive thinking, it is a powerful, alchemical laboratory where thought can be transformed into reality. Ancient alchemists were not just trying to turn lead into gold. That was a metaphor for a deeper transformation, the transformation of the lead of a dense, fearful, and chaotic mind into the gold of an enlightened, coherent, and creative consciousness. They believed our emotions are vibrations that tune our reality. Feelings like fear, anger, and despair are low, chaotic frequencies that attract corresponding experiences. Feelings like love, gratitude, and joy are high, harmonious frequencies that resonate with and attract more of the same. By understanding the principle of polarity, that everything has its opposite, and that opposites are just two sides of the same coin, we can learn to perform this inner alchemy. We can learn to transform fear into courage, hatred into love, not by denying the negative, but by consciously raising our mental vibration toward the positive pole. Every thought you hold radiates outward from you as a subtle but real force. It is your unique contribution to the mental universe. In this view, you are not a victim of circumstance. You are a participant in the ongoing act of creation, and the primary tool of your craft is the quality of your own consciousness. Let's now weave together the participatory universe of modern physics with the mental universe of ancient philosophy. What emerges is a breathtaking vision of reality as a great, self-creating, self-reflecting loop. It's a cosmic dialogue where neither mind nor matter comes first, because they arise together, co-creating each other in an endless dance of reflection. Here's how the loop might work. The universe, as a field of infinite potential, a universal mind, or a quantum sea of possibilities, gives rise to conscious observers like us. We are the universe's way of creating localized points of attention. Then, those observers, by looking back at the cosmos, by measuring it, by thinking about it, by giving it meaning, collapse the infinite potential into definite, experienced reality. Our observation gives form to the universe's dream. It is a grand, cosmic chicken and egg scenario. Does the universe create us, or do we create the universe? The answer is both. It's a partnership. Imagine a mirror looking at another mirror. They create an infinite reflection, a reality that exists only in their mutual relationship. The universe and consciousness are like those two mirrors. Your awareness is not just an endpoint of creation, a final product of a long evolutionary chain. It is a vital and necessary part of the circuit that allows the universe to become fully real to itself. Without you and beings like you, the cosmos would remain an unwritten poem, an unplayed symphony, a dream without a dreamer to witness it. Your act of being aware, right here, right now, is an act of cosmic significance. You are the universe's way of closing the loop and knowing its own existence. As we stand within this great self-reflecting loop, our perspective shifts one last time. We have been exploring the idea that we are observing the universe, that we are the universe observing itself. But what if, in this mutual act of creation, the universe is in some way observing us back? This is not to suggest the gaze of some personal, judgmental entity in the sky. It's something far more intimate and profound. It is a sense of reciprocal recognition, a feeling of being known by the very reality you are experiencing. Think of it this way. The starlight from a galaxy a million light years away has traveled through the cold vacuum of space for eons. Its long journey finally ends. Its information is delivered in the photoreceptors of your eyes and the neural network of your brain. In that moment of seeing, an ancient journey is completed in your awareness. In that meeting, the observer and the observed become one. The universe sees itself through you, and you are literally made of the starlight that you see. This feeling of being seen, of being held within a larger intelligence, can arise in moments of deep quiet and connection. It might happen while walking in an old-growth forest, feeling the silent, collective wisdom of the trees. It might happen while looking into the eyes of a loved one and seeing a whole universe of experience looking back. It is a silent, continuous loop of self-discovery. In these moments, the illusion of separation dissolves, and you realize that you are not just a lonely observer looking out at an indifferent cosmos. You are a cherished part of a living, intelligent whole, and your awareness is the point where that whole comes to know and feel its own magnificent existence. Our journey now takes us into the mind of one of humanity's greatest philosophers, Plato, and his vision of a deeper, more real reality that lies just beyond our senses. Plato imagined that our physical world, the world we perceive through our senses, is not the real world. It is merely a shadow, a flickering, imperfect copy of a timeless, eternal realm of perfect ideas or forms. In this higher realm, there exists the perfect form of everything. There is the ideal form of a circle, of which every circle we draw is just a flawed imitation. There is the perfect form of justice, of courage, and most importantly, of beauty and goodness. Every beautiful thing we see in this world, a sunset, a piece of music, a work of art, is beautiful only because it participates in, or is a faint echo of, the ideal form of beauty itself. In this view, true learning is not about discovering new things in the outer world. It is a process of recollection and amnesis. Plato believed our souls existed in this realm of forms before we were born. The process of learning is actually the soul remembering the perfection it once knew. Those sudden moments of insight when a complex idea clicks into place, or moments of profound awe when you are struck by an overwhelming sense of beauty and order. These are not just chemical reactions in your brain. According to Plato, they are glimpses of this eternal pattern. They are moments when the universe recalls its own flawless, intelligent design through your consciousness. You are remembering a truth that is already written in the very fabric of your being. To explain his idea, Plato gave us one of the most powerful metaphors in all of Western thought, the allegory of the cave. He asks us to imagine prisoners who have been chained their entire lives in a dark cave facing a blank wall. Behind them, a fire burns, and people walk back and forth, carrying objects. The fire casts shadows of these objects onto the wall in front of the prisoners. For the prisoners, these flickering shadows are their entire reality. They give them names, they study their patterns, they believe the shadows are the true and only things. Now, imagine one prisoner is freed. He is forced to turn around and see the fire and the real objects for the first time. The light is blinding and painful. He is confused. Then, he is dragged out of the cave and into the upper world, into the full light of the sun. He sees the real world, the trees, the sky, the animals, and realizes that what he thought was reality was just a pale imitation. This allegory serves as a potent metaphor for our own perception. We often mistake the shadows of our sensory experience, what we see, hear, and touch, for the whole of reality. We are unaware of the greater light of consciousness, the realm of pure forms, that casts these shadows. But here is a deeper interpretation. Awakening is not about escaping the cave and rejecting the shadows. It is about understanding the relationship between the light and the shadows. It is the realization that our everyday world, with all its struggles and imperfections, is a sacred theater where the universe's invisible truths are made visible. The cave and the world above are part of the same whole. Awakening is simply recognizing the light of pure awareness that illuminates every single shadow. Let's bring Plato's ancient wisdom into a fascinating dialogue with modern neuroscience, because today, scientists are coming to a remarkably similar conclusion about the nature of perception. For a long time, we thought our eyes and ears were like cameras and microphones, passively recording an objective, outside world. But we now know this is completely wrong. Your perception of the world is not a direct recording at all. It is an active creation, a story woven by your brain. Leading neuroscientists like Anil Seth describe our conscious reality as a controlled hallucination. Here's how it works. Your brain is locked in the dark, silent vault of your skull. It has no direct access to the outside world. All it ever receives are ambiguous electrical signals from your senses. So, to make sense of this noisy data, the brain makes a guess. Based on all your past experiences and your expectations about the world, your brain generates a hypothesis, a simulation of what it thinks is out there. It literally hallucinates your reality. The sensory data from your eyes and ears doesn't create the perception. It's used to refine the guess, to correct the hallucination, to keep it tethered to what's happening. This is why you can see faces in the clouds or hear words in a random noise. Your brain is constantly projecting its own patterns onto the world. This stunning discovery reveals that the boundary between your imagination and your reality is beautifully, incredibly thin. The world you experience is a dynamic and magical story, woven between what is out there and the patterns that are already within you. It is a shared dream, a collective hallucination that we all agree to call real. Our focus now turns to perhaps the most mysterious aspect of our reality, time. Just like our perception of space and objects, our experience of time is not what it seems. We tend to think of time as a universal river, flowing forward at a constant rate for everyone. But Albert Einstein completely shattered this notion with his theory of relativity. He showed that time is not absolute. It is relative to the observer's motion and to gravity. Time can stretch and shrink. It is woven together with space into a single, four-dimensional fabric, space-time. Within our own minds, time is even more fluid and subjective. Think about your own experience. Time seems to shrink when you're joyful and engaged. A whole afternoon can disappear in a moment of creative flow, and it stretches painfully when you're bored, anxious, or in sorrow. A single minute can feel like an eternity. This suggests that time is not just a feature of the external world, but is deeply shaped by consciousness. Some physicists and philosophers take this even further, proposing the block universe theory. In this view, all of time, past, present, and future, already exists simultaneously. The entire timeline of the universe is a pre-existing four-dimensional block. It doesn't flow. Rather, our consciousness moves across this static landscape of moments, experiencing them sequentially, creating the illusion of passage. Time, then, is the rhythm our consciousness creates as it turns the universe's silent, timeless potential into a lived, dynamic experience. It is the canvas upon which the mind paints the story of reality. Throughout this journey, we've talked about our everyday, individual consciousness. But what if this is just one limited mode of being? One narrow channel on a television with infinite channels. Throughout history, people have reported experiences where the ego, the sense of being a separate I, dissolves and their consciousness expands to feel a profound sense of unity with the world, with the cosmos, with everything. These states can be accessed through various doorways. Deep meditation, practiced for millennia, aims to quiet the chattering of the thinking mind, allowing a deeper, more silent awareness to emerge. In lucid dreams, one can become aware that they are dreaming and explore the vast, creative landscape of the subconscious with full consciousness. Moments of profound creative flow when an artist or athlete becomes so absorbed in their task that their sense of self vanishes are another doorway. Peak experiences in nature, psychedelic journeys, and moments of deep love or sudden, overwhelming awe can also temporarily dissolve the boundaries of the self. What these experiences consistently reveal is a glimpse of a vast, unified field of awareness that underlies our individual minds. They remind us that our everyday self, with its name, its history, and its worries, is just one temporary pattern of consciousness, one fleeting ripple on a boundless ocean of being. Beneath our perceived individuality lies the same silent, interconnected, and eternal presence that animates all of existence. These experiences aren't escapes from reality, they are brief returns to our true nature, a reality that is far more expansive and interconnected than our normal waking state allows us to see. Our long exploration, which has taken us from the edge of the cosmos to the depths of the atom, from modern neuroscience to ancient philosophy, now comes to rest in a final, gentle, and all-encompassing realization. Perhaps the ultimate truth is simpler than we could have ever imagined. Perhaps the universe is a single, living mind, and what we call nature is its thought process made manifest. Look around you. The patterns of awareness are everywhere, hiding in plain sight. Look at the interconnected intelligence of a forest ecosystem, a wood-wide web of fungi connecting trees in a symbiotic network of communication and resource sharing. It functions like a single, distributed brain. Look at the neural-like structure of galactic filaments, the largest structures in the cosmos, which bear a striking resemblance to the neural networks inside our own heads. From the flocking of birds to the self-organizing patterns of a crystal, nature is constantly displaying a profound, inherent intelligence. In this final, unifying view, the perceived conflict between science and spirituality dissolves. They become two different languages describing the same magnificent reality. Science studies the outer form of the cosmic thought, the laws of physics, the processes of biology. Spirituality explores the inner experience of that thought, the feelings of love, connection, and awe. You are not a tiny, insignificant fragment lost in a vast, uncaring cosmos. You are the cosmos taking a precious, fleeting moment to experience itself as a human being. You are a thought in the infinite mind of the universe, a universe that is, and always has been, peacefully and beautifully dreaming itself awake. We have traveled far on this journey of ideas, and now we return to where we began, to you, in this present moment. The ultimate lesson of a conscious universe is one of profound connection and empowerment. You are not separate from the world you see. You are a co-creator of it. Your consciousness is not a random byproduct of chemistry. It is the very medium through which reality comes into being. So how do we live this? The advice is simple and timeless. Spend more time in nature and see it not as a resource, but as a kindred intelligence. Practice mindfulness or meditation, not to escape the world, but to become more intimate with the silent awareness that underlies your thoughts. Cultivate a sense of wonder. Question your perceptions and remember that the reality you experience is a beautiful story you are helping to write. Above all, act from a place of love and compassion, because in a deeply interconnected universe, every act of kindness toward another is an act of kindness toward yourself. The journey doesn't end here. It begins now in your own life. So I leave you with a few questions to carry with you. If your awareness truly helps shape reality, what kind of reality do you want to create? If you are a wave in a universal ocean of consciousness, how does that change your relationship with everyone and everything around you? And what do you feel when you look up at the night sky now? Thank you for sharing this time and this exploration with me. I wish you health, happiness, and a deepening sense of connection to the magnificent living cosmos of which you are an inseparable part. If this journey resonated with you, please consider subscribing to the channel and joining our community of curious minds. There is so much more to explore together.